Blockchain and Crypto Adoption Leap in the UAE. With Patrick Lowry, Iconic Holding.
Is the mic on? Perfect, there we are. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Lowry. I'm the CEO of Cryptology Asset Group, as well as Iconic Funds. And I would like to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to come down and speak about blockchain and crypto adoption, particularly in the context of the UAE. So, what do we do at Iconic and Cryptology? Well, we're an investment company. Cryptology is publicly traded, managing roughly $500 million out of Germany, and Iconic is an asset management group. We create investment vehicles for qualified professional investors, and most recently, we had an exchange-traded product approved by our regulator that is now trading on the Deutsche Börse, physically backed by Bitcoin, so one of the world's first Bitcoin exchange-traded products. And I'm here to speak about what lessons we learned about investor preferences, user preferences to engage with crypto. And the big lesson that we learned in Germany is it's not exactly what you would expect. So we did a sponsored research study alongside the guys at Cointelegraph, as well as the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. And we reached out to investors, over 1,000 of them, and we asked, well, what is your preferred way to invest in crypto? And do you believe you'll be investing in crypto assets? Well, 100% of the respondents, roughly 700 institutions, family offices, high net worth individuals, etc., responded that they would be investing in crypto or, in the near future, would be investing in crypto. And of that 100% that said they would be investing in crypto, 62% said that they would like to use an asset manager, that they would trust a regulated party. Well, this is surprising because if you're a crypto native, we have that expression, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So why are we interjecting what is effectively a third-party intermediary, what we're supposed to be removing in crypto, for investors, and why do they actually prefer this? Well, that kind of got me thinking around blockchain adoption in particular. And a lesson that we can learn from this is what should developers be doing differently to drive blockchain and crypto adoption itself. And I'm reminded of a quote from a very famous doctor, and he was running around 20 years ago getting chased by dinosaurs. And he said blockchain developers are so preoccupied with if they could, they never stop to think if they should. And what does he mean by that? Well, we have these wonderful developers, these technologists that are building out these amazing protocol layers. And they're trying to market these, they're trying to solicit these for users as an experience to give them opportunities to be investing, trading, or managing crypto. But the reality is most of the protocols that are being built, frankly, probably shouldn't be developed, or at least developed the way they are. And I'm going to use Uniswap as a case study. Now, Uniswap, as you know, is an aggregated market maker, automated market maker, that has effectively made all capital markets around the world completely irrelevant. I'm going to say that again because that's important. Every stock exchange around the world has been made completely and utterly irrelevant by a single smart contract protocol. But the question is will users, will institutions adopt it? And the frank answer is no. We have 20, 30, whatever billion tied up in liquidity on Uniswap, and while that should be commended for sure, it's a wonderful accomplishment, the user experience of Uniswap is not optimized for proper capital, and it is not optimized for real retail investors. It's only used by people that are already familiar with the crypto space. So we need to start thinking about how do we take platforms like this and build layer 3 solutions that users can engage with, that institutions can engage with. And this is where I kind of have a theory. So what does crypto adoption actually look like then? Well, I love this show, Futurama. And in this show, there is a cigar-smoking, beer-drinking robot named Bender. Bender gets lost in space, and he's floating around out in the cosmos, and he comes across this cosmic entity, this cosmic binary entity, that in this cartoon is apparently God in some fashion. Well, Bender asks him, why do you allow such bad things to happen in the world? Why can't you help people? And God's response to this is, well, when you do things right, people won't be sure if you've done anything at all. Putting people in positions to be in power, giving the man a fish doesn't do anything. Teaching the man to fish, giving the man an application to fish is what you need to do. And this is where I change that quote a little bit, where I would say developers build things right. People won't know that they're engaging with the blockchain at all. Now, what do I mean by this, and what must we do? Well, we have to change our mentality towards crypto. We have to think about cryptocurrencies in a completely different light. Bitcoin, yes, it's a digital store of value, this digital gold, a peer-to-peer e-cash payment system. But that's not what Bitcoin is for users. Sure, some people speculate on Bitcoin as a trading asset, but what Bitcoin truly is a settlement layer. And when you can have a settlement layer that you can engage with on your smartphone, in the same way that you do with all of your financial banking applications, well, that's where you can probably drive user adoption, because users aren't familiar with cold storage, warm storage. They don't know which exchanges to go to. They're intimidated by the spreads, the volatility that you see in Bitcoin. But if you change the narrative a little bit, because users at the end of the day don't care if the payment on their application is settled in SEPA or SWIFT. And most people don't even know what that actually is. When that gets integrated with Bitcoin, it drives adoption. And we have to think of the other cryptocurrencies, particularly the smart contract enabling platforms, as different as well. We need to think of these as more App Store platforms. At the end of the day, users don't care when they're on their phone if they're engaging with HTML, HTTPS, TCP/IP, JavaScript. Users don't care. And they're not going to care in the future if they're engaging with Ethereum, with Cardano, with EOS, Tron, any of these smart contract platforms. The only thing they're going to care is that the application that they're engaging with on their device is providing the product or service they expect. And this is where the entirety of the crypto space finally really has to start focusing on proper UI and UX. We've already created the base 1 layers, similar to how we created the internet a couple of years ago. We have wonderful layer 2 solutions, Uniswap being a wonderful example of this. But we haven't yet perfected the proper user experience that is seamless for an institution to engage with the blockchain and crypto, or for users to engage with blockchain protocols in a way that isn't intimidating to them. And once we focus on this, and we can use our smartphones, engaging with the blockchain, engaging with these applications in the exact same way that we engage with the internet, that's when we finally drive adoption. And people won't know they're engaging with the blockchain. They won't know they're engaging with cryptocurrencies as this continues to function in the background. So how can the UAE, in particular, be one of the key drivers of this adoption? And I'm going to focus on 3 particular groups that I think are the most important and critical for the success of the UAE in this regard. The first is developers themselves. Everything starts here. Developers don't just need to build technology for the sake of building it. You really need to optimize the user experiences of the technology. At the end of the day, the most technologically advanced, the most technologically complicated protocols aren't going to be adopted. Users aren't going to care. Second is investors. Investors need to reach out to these entrepreneurs, engage with them, learn from them at a very early stage, and be seeding these investors, or these startups. Further, they need to put a focus on fundamentals. So we need to stop this narrative of investing in the newest doggy coin or whatever, the newest DeFi pump and dump. We need to focus on true fundamentals, true platforms that can be adopted. And for regulators, we need to change the mentality of looking at the way that the law is currently constructed and trying to fit this new technological development into the legal framework as it currently exists. That's no different than fitting a square peg into a round hole. It just won't work. So we need to rethink the regimes that we have overseeing our capital markets, our financial markets, and our users. Because we need to ensure that we are protecting investors, we are protecting users, but we are not over-regulating. And what we need to do with our regulators, or rather what they need to do, is work hand in hand with the entrepreneurs, very similar to how the FCA, the UK regulator, works with blockchain companies in their regulatory sandbox. And we need to not be scared by the craziest ideas that are out there. Yes, crypto is complicated. Yes, there are examples of Bitcoin being used for money laundering. But this is less than 1% of the total global transactions of Bitcoin and is not a reason to be afraid. 99.9% of the developers, 99.9% of the entrepreneurs in the crypto space out there are good, well-intentioned people that are trying to make the world a better place. And we need to be working with these groups. Bitcoin and crypto adoption is inevitable, and the UAE is in a very particular place because it has such an enclosed environment where they can work with regulators, entrepreneurs can meet more access with investors, that it will be one of the key catalysts for driving crypto adoption forward. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day.